We will now continue with our panel number 2. Let's learn more from our esteemed speaker about trends in modernization of the banking sector. Our moderator today is Miloš Polovina, TransferNova CEO. He has moved through legacy banks for over 20 years into FinTech and has vast experience in product development, CRM, and digital banking innovations. He is particularly valuable in discussions on e-commerce and FinTech. I am leaving you in his capable hands, but I will also mention who will be joining us today in our panel number 2. We have Mortimer-Schutts, who is a DFS expert at the IFC. We have Marko Tepavac, who is head of the ICT department at Banca Intesa. Luka Uskoković, advisor to the management board, director of payments, FinTech and cash management and NLB Bank Podgorica. Nataša Rađenović Živanović, CINO, OTP Banca, and Lav Odorović, CEO of Relio. So Miloš, please take the stage.
Test. Okay, it's working, yeah. So hello everyone. Do we have Lav? Yeah, we have Lav. So this is like a hybrid panel. Can we maybe move the TV or so? No, because like we cannot. Ciao. Sorry. Do you see us?
Yes, I can see you.
That's cool. Hello. How's the weather?
In Zurich, it's terrible.
Okay. You should come here. It will be easier, yeah. But okay.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you very much to my guests to today's panel for joining us. We are talking about the open banking as an opportunity, pretty much, for creating some new businesses, either for fintechs, either for banks. And as we were like preparing for this, we have a different, let's say, members who have a different paths, career paths. So I would start with asking Marko, what are the for Intesa the key drivers behind the open banking for the banking sector? So please.
Thank you, Miloš. Hello, everyone. I think that the open banking is a good example of technology where we have the situation that one factor is just not enough. I will speak from our experience, because in 2018 we had one use case where we recognized opportunity as IT to go with the technology which will support the open banking, and we implemented it in 2018 and switch it off in 2 years later, because we didn't find the second use case, and even this first use case can be implemented without open banking. So if you ask me now today what is the key driver, I think that we need to have several elements. First of all is somehow market pressure, because expectation of clients plus fintech pressure, we need to somehow react on this, because more or less we know what is development even all around Europe. I think that only in the Great Britain and on the Far East we have a lot of developed use cases. We in a group, we have countries like Croatia or Slovakia who are obliged to have open banking regarding PSD2, and I discussed with them and still they don't have a very good use cases. So more pressure from this side will, let's say, push us into this direction. Second thing is the regulation, because anyhow, I think that the only chance to have a successful story about open banking is to have all banks included, because if someone decided not to go into this direction, we cannot support what is in behind, and this is somehow the openness and possibility for the clients to receive the overall services. And the third, and maybe first from the bank point of view, is somehow the bank angle or the benefits for the bank. And here, what I can say is that in Intesa, we recognize the possibility that through the open banking, we can implement some services or some products that we cannot do it internally because of many different reasons. So in a cooperation with some fintech, if there is a possibility for that, this can be the one very good opportunity for us. Of course, I think that since the very beginning, everybody knows about possibility to monetize using of APIs, but the first one, let's say the why to do it, I think from the bank point of view is to have better service for the client through cooperation with some fintechs. So in a nutshell, this is from our point of view.
Okay, so just continuing on that, what you start, like for Nataša, so as a chief innovating officer in OTP, as far as I understood, and I think everybody here understood, so you are like in the forefront of like creating innovation within the bank, talking with the fintechs, how you see that the bank is really leveraging on the, let's say, open banking cooperation with the fintechs and those revenue streams that Marko mentioned, like how you are creating them.
Okay, so yeah, we have the challenge here, especially because technology is not in place, which will make our life easier. But we're trying to find different kinds of cooperation which can somehow cover this topic without the real open banking. As from the bank side, we are ready for that. As Marko said, we also have some technology in place, so we are preparing ourselves for this case. But until this is completed, we are trying to find some other solutions. OTP Bank currently is strongly oriented through innovations, internally and externally, as you said. And we build OTP Connect as an external innovation ecosystem. There we have several streams inside the program, but one of the streams is R&D zone, where we have a lot of companies, teams, unofficial teams, startups, who are ready to cooperate with us and to build something new. It is really good. It is on place 7 months, and already we have 3 success stories. So we can see that market is really ready, and they are keen to start cooperating with, especially with the banks, I think, because there is a lot of use cases. From my side, I didn't want to wait entire technology to be in place, you know, because I think that it's a lost opportunity. We need to cooperate with the fintechs if we want to build some products fast, agile, to be ready for all the things that customers want. So yeah, we are now trying to find the model, for that. Also for revenue streams, as you said, this is the first case of its kind on our market. So it's pretty challenging to set entire place as it should look like, but I think that we are on the right path, and yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, having said that, like for Ivan, so the IFC starting this DFS project, so how the IFC see the region and what you're actually bringing to Serbia and Western Balkans as like IFC. I mean, Marko said, we are seeking for something that we cannot do it by ourselves, whatever that means. And Nataša said, okay, we are proactive, and now hearing that from, let's say, 2 biggest banks in the country, at least in Serbia, how you see this can be developed more for the benefits of all the participants in the project.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe first of all, just a little bit of the context. This is a program that's just starting under the IFC and with support from the Swiss government, and it's a regional initiative in promoting financial sector development, digital financial services, but also the ecosystem that goes with that of venture capital, development companies that go beyond financial services. So we talked a lot about embedded finance in the previous sessions. This is an ever-changing ecosystem and scope of innovation. And actually, it's a sort of structural change, I would say, in the way that services and the ecosystem continue to develop. And we've seen this play out in other markets across the world where IFC and the World Bank engages. And we see that, first of all, financial services are essential for virtually every part of the economy to grow and participate in an overall growth trajectory that achieves the objectives that we really strive for in terms of social and economic development, number one. And number two, that, as I think everybody's kind of alluded to, not just now in this panel, but earlier in the morning, is that it's no longer about innovating within a particular organization, but as Jan mentioned, it's an ecosystem. It's a very complex ecosystem, actually, that now needs to be navigated. And these ecosystems intrinsically are what I call border agnostic. They still have to, all the companies we're dealing with, they need to deal with national-based regulation or transnational-based regulation. But the business models and the entrepreneurs that are spurring this are intrinsically looking at global markets. And that's the challenge that we want to try and address through this initiative.
So unicorns.
Eventually unicorns.
Okay.
But there's always going to be space for companies that don't become unicorns. So to answer your question, in that context, what we're trying to do here, not just in the Western Balkans, but also by seeding connections with other countries in Eastern Europe and beyond, is to, one, help domestic authorities understand this ecosystem and understand what their role is increasingly, not just in passing regulation that may help align with, for instance, the European Union, but think a little bit more holistically about how financial services and the sector is transforming. Think about the regulatory instruments that they have at their disposal, but also think about how they can act outside of lawmaking in areas of institutions, working with the market structure to help domestic companies and ultimately help then individuals and companies get better access to finance domestically, but crucially also then work with associations, companies, both banks and tech companies, to think much more broadly, to open doors and overcome hurdles in business model innovation, market structures, so that they can expand beyond their national boundaries almost from day one, if possible, because so many of these business models already compete at an international or at the very least a regional level. And if you want to become a unicorn, the simple mathematics are that you can't afford to stay in just one or two regional markets in Southeastern Europe. You have to already think big. And my last point there is, I think that there's an interesting opportunity in this part of the world, because while we tend to sort of look at regulation as a kind of linear progression, often, that's no longer the case. We're no longer in a situation where the more advanced economies kind of implement infrastructure and regulation and others tend towards that. We're actually in a much more heterogeneous, multipolar environment now, where innovations that can scale can actually come from anywhere. And it's really about, and to some extent, countries that have less established habits, institutions, and have what we call, what we often refer to as white space, actually parts of the market that are very objectively underserved, or parts of the market in a more sensitive fashion where we know that things are more expensive than they could or should be. Those are the pockets where innovation has potential. And if we find those pockets here in Southeast Asia, maybe there's a chance to build business models that go beyond.
Southeast Europe, you mean?
Sorry.
I mean, Asia is fine as well. No worries.
Sorry,
it's easier.
I was based for 12 years in Southeast Asia.
And Singapore,
it runs off the tongue very easily. My apologies.
Yeah, you're native there for sure. So thank you for that. No worries. I mean, it's just like a small joke. Hope you don't mind. And then Luka, the PSD2 actually came to Montenegrin market. So
yes,
you are already living something that we are waiting, let's say. So what are the first impressions? So are there any challenges, or it's like really done?
Of course not. Thanks, Miloš. Thanks all. So yes,
Really?
2 months ago, PSD2 is fully implemented in Montenegro. So that was an interesting journey, and was the law on payments transaction was adopted 2 years ago. So the law entered into the force in October 2023. and last 6 months were really intensive. So today we can say that market is compliant with EU. So we have all banks connected in the same time on open banking. I would like to say that PSD2 is more talking about open payments. So maybe PSD3 will bring open banking in a full sense. Why open payments? Because we introduce 2 new services directly related to the open payments. So first is account information service. I remember that APA was big drama in the bank, and even the management asked me, please check with central bank, do we really need to open our code with all necessary information? Yes, we need. So it, of course, with the concept of client. And the second new service what we introduce is payment initiation service. This protocol is very crucial because it's very important for the merchants, because now 24/7 they can initiate the payment transaction and immediately start to deliver service, good tickets, so without waiting the clearing, because it will happen tomorrow morning. Although the last 6 months, why they were very intensive, because 2 bylaws were really important. Somehow devil is also into the details, but this law introduced 2 bylaw. First decision was on the previous panel. We learned a lot about anti-fraud and how it is important to protect, because in open banking you are simply open, so you need to protect the frauds and the payments 24/7. So it was the challenge to implement anti-fraud solution. So today we have real and non-real time scenarios how to protect the bank if someone start to do something wrong. Then we have automatic criterion where we reject payments, and we have criterions where we make decision tomorrow morning. So this is a more or less similar logic like for the card business. But more important was decision on strong customer authentication. So today in Montenegro, we don't use OTP codes anymore. So there is no trader secure codes. There is no white belt typing of this, because on different channel you need to sign transactions. So we introduce NLB Pay, different channel from NLB Click. So we just need to confirm each transaction on e-commerce above 50 euro, or in total 150. That was really interesting, because somehow that was like a just decision. As a market, we were focused on the PSD2, but without participation of the all market players, so the soft decline and then the strong customer authentication wasn't possible. So we had some delay, 1 or 2 months, but today, exactly today on the 31st May, so OTP in this traditional way went to the history. Today we discuss a lot, and this is the typical example of the central bank, of the great role of the central bank. So we had really good and creative and innovative vice governor, Ms. Zorica Kalezić, who forced this without any possible delay. So today we are, let's say, somehow forced by central bank to implement this. This is a good example how a regulator can accept one law with pure support of World Bank, and really convince banks start finally think about fintech. Although in our bank we had fintech department 3 years ago, so we know what will come, and we know what now will come with the single euro payment area. So SEPA is almost around the corner. So Montenegro submitted application 2 months ago to European Payment Council. So we expect a final green light, maybe very optimistic in June, but I hope till the end of this year. So it means that immediately half of the international payment will disappear. So it will be like a cross-border, like domestic payments. We are also ready for this, because we work a lot on this.
Do you need a new employee? Because I'm dealing with the remittances.
No, actually, we need less employees.
Less? Maybe in archive, of course. I dreaming about the archive.
But definitely the system will transfer automatically on this last moment and create the SWIFT. So we will recognize these payments towards the 36 SEPA countries. In SEPA today we have 4,000 banks and associations. So actually the system automatically will know where to route the payment, and of course for the client with almost zero cost. So we are ready to lose this.
Wow.
And we are ready to lose this. So we will be ready in planning, and international payment will be dramatically changed. So immediately with entering the SEPA, half will be like a domestic payments.
Okay, thank you, Luka. Very interesting. So it means that a lot of people will lose the job. Okay, yeah, good. But maybe fintechs can help to speed it up. Now our virtual guest, guest of honor, I would say, Lav. You, my friend, built 2 banks, yeah? So, and I think for the audience and for me personally, it would be interesting to find out how. One is Penta for SMEs in Germany. Second one, now that you're a CEO of Relio in Switzerland. And question is, why those countries? Why not in Serbia? Since you're a Serbian guy, yeah. So can you give us some like your journey, life journey, business journey?
Thank you. It's great to be here, and thank you for the nice words. Yes, so maybe the first part of the question, what does it take to build a bank? It's not the same as when a big corporation, well-funded, is building a bank, and then you can afford all the resources you need, from people to infrastructure, tech, and so on. Both of these are basically startups. And so when you ask me what's needed to build a bank, in my case, it was actually, the question should be what it takes to build a startup bank. And it takes, obviously, to understand the market needs, to be very agile in adapting while you're building, as you're learning, as you split what you're building in many small pieces that should see the light of day far before the launch, in terms of getting customer feedback. It also takes a bit of crazy team of people who is ready to work long hours and be ready to take on tasks that they knew nothing about. I can tell you, for example, when Penta first negotiated with Solaris Bank, which was the bank behind us, as we didn't have all the infrastructure licenses. At this meeting, I was negotiating the contract, and on the other side were 11 people, and on my side of the table I was alone. And when we wanted to speak with regulatory lawyer, which costs, we started in UK, but then went to Berlin, but it cost like so much money, and it was always very challenging, and we had to wear many hats, and also in many cases take some risks that I think bigger corporations would not be ready to do. But this also gives you a bit of agility and ability to really adapt to situation, and if you take it safe, it actually builds results and makes hopefully happy customers. So second part of the question, and I hope I'm not overly long, please cut me. Why Germany? Why Switzerland? Why not Serbia? Maybe to start with Germany, I think it was to be very frank, it wasn't some great strategic decision that was thought through for months. We actually started a startup in London. We were part of one of the best accelerators in the world for fintech there, and we intended to go live in UK. Unfortunately, no bank wanted to work with us. And we found a really great partner bank in Berlin called Solaris Bank, as mentioned. And to be frank, of course, it was one of the key markets we discussed. But in many ways, there is also an element of chance and luck that influence even such major decisions, such as what would be the first country where you launch services, which probably to some of the people in the room sounds absolutely crazy. And then for Switzerland, it was more strategic. It is because here we received the fintech license from a Swiss regulator, which is something like a light banking license, and this allows us to have a full independent payment operations. We as Relio focus on serving SMEs and the legal entities in general, and we focus on really improving the compliance and AML processes. So we digitalize the onboarding, but not as it's normally said, where you digitalize how you collect information. We digitalize also the risk scoring, and our form adapts. So instead of having countless iterations between a client and a bank, we have a huge decision tree with 4,000 questions and answers, which allows us to onboard even the most complex customers, usually in just one iteration. So, okay, sorry, I hope this was not overly long, and I'm happy to expand if...
It's not, it's just like, if I can just this follow up, as you said, like the Solaris Bank was the only bank that wanted to talk with you, yeah, for the Penta, yeah? So why they actually decided to talk to you? I mean, what was there, let's say, for them, and who was that crazy guy who wanted to talk with some Lav from Serbia that have a dream to create the digital SME bank in Berlin? Yeah.
Okay, so maybe just to put a bit of context around it, it's not, you know, so crazy, and we're not that nobody wanted to talk with us. Basically, what we wanted to do is to build a digital bank on the back of some other bank. And, you know, now this is business as usual, and even in the region, there are some examples of it. But at the time, so for example, Solaris Bank is known in Europe as probably the most advanced banking as a service provider. And at the time they were just starting, and the products they were offering was, you know, your white label credit card, and, you know, maybe, you know, some simple accounts, or if this then that accounts, and something really limited in scope. And we had a pitch. We didn't have 20 million euro for, you know, to build a bank from scratch, to get all the licenses, regulatory capital, and all the other needed stuff. So we wanted to piggyback on somebody, on some other bank's infrastructure. And as most of you can probably agree, it's a very complex issue, and it also involves a lot of trust between us and a bank, as they had to trust our processes, you know, that we won't do something wrong. And you're all aware how many things can go wrong, either with, you know, compliance and AML, or with security, or, you know, with fraud, and with so many things, where in the end there was another bank guaranteeing to our customers jointly that, you know, services will be provided, that money is safe, and so on. So we were the first digital bank that was launched with Solaris Bank. And yeah, very, very grateful for this. If this is still relevant, 2024, well, this was a few years back.
Okay, so thank you, Lav. Really, it was like, for me, new things that I learned, at least. So like, I would move now in more like, whoever wants to answer part is like, if let's say I'm the fintech, yeah, today. So in Montenegro there is a regulation. I would like to do some transactional business, daily banking, whatever. There is IFC. I'm discussing with them. Ivan said, okay, we are your muscles, don't worry. So regulators, yeah, done. And then there is like a big groups like OTP, Intesa, and how I should actually approach you, all of you guys. So what I would need to do in actually to explain you my story, and to show you somehow that this story can be unicorn, what we discuss, yeah? So whoever wants, yeah? So Nataša, please,
Okay,
ladies first.
I can go first, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this is the reason why we built this OTP Connect as external innovation ecosystem, because we wanted to see what kind of innovative ideas our market have, and also to give them some kind of streamlined process how they can contact the bank. Until now, we done some innovative things without this program, but everything was like, you know, you meet somebody, you send an email to somebody who knows if that somebody will really call you and listen to your ideas. And we wanted to make some structured process where any fintech, any startup, any tech company who thinks that they have the right products for the bank, or right products for our clients.
Lav has it for sure.
Yes, yeah. Lav is one of them. They can approach us, and then we have the process behind how we are communicated with how we are communicating with the specific company. So it is really streamlined the process. They apply, we call them, they have a pitch with us, then we have some kind of assessments behind. This is what Lav is talking about. We need to somehow to assess if this cooperation is good enough, is secure enough, relevant enough, if they have the right expertise, and the team is good and strong. And after this assessment, we are practically starting to make the models for cooperations. So this is the reason why we build it, and we have this process in place. So currently we have around 50 companies there.
Okay.
And some of those companies are really great for beyond banking initiative, because OTP Connect have the purpose for sure to implement some innovative solutions in the bank, to modernize us internally regarding operational efficiency and digital transformation initiatives. So we are also collecting this kind of ideas. We are building new solutions with the companies in this R&D zone that I mentioned, but also we have different stream in OTP Connect, which is related to strategic cooperation, where somebody who has completed product can approach us, offer us as a bank some solution, or offer us solutions that they see fit for our customers. If, for example, they apply with this kind of solution, we are also assessing this and then trying to push these solutions to our customers. As a real beyond banking initiative. So
but still it's your assessment.
Yes.
For example, for Luka is a must. There is a regulation. And he has to give the approach. So for you it's a decision, for Marko it's decision. So for Luka probably it's like a must.
Yes. For us is a must, because we will see that TPP,
like in EU
TPPs are connected. We'll see tomorrow morning, and here we have to say that TPPs from the banking perspective in couple of years, definitely I think that every bank will need to have a FinTech department. It is what we have with OTP Connect and also in NLB, but not to make decisions. So to try to find partnership, because the main pillar of the PSD2 is increasing of competition, and we have to say that yes, FinTech and TPPs are our competitors. It's true. So this is the aim of the PSD2. But they enter in our value chain as a bankers, but because we would like to follow them, we have money, we can invest in technology, but at the end of the day, we have to fulfill hundreds of the reports for the CISO risk, so we are more regulatory oriented. So the best business is super modern FinTech, but regulated business. So this is the field where we can cooperate. So, and we have to cooperate with FinTechs, but not in automatic way, that we have more and more. So today we have issue how to connect them. You know, it's not easy to be connected in 12 banks with 3-4 APIs, because it's very challenging, because there is no IT specification on this. Also, PSD3 will not bring IT specification, because one body which provide the services cannot provide the IT specification. So unfortunately, with PSD3, we also enter in the game where, as a FinTech, you need a lot of money and investment to be connected on all banks with all these protocols. But the interesting thing is that when we see tomorrow morning that you do something with us on our core system, then you can be interested in a FinTech. Don't worry, we'll call you, because we have department, and on the group level in Ljubljana, we have already this NLB FinTech hub. So where colleagues do also assessment, and then we would like to cooperate. Every day we invite FinTech to cooperate with us. So this is the future. But what I mentioned, that in open banking, so they will be automatically connected on the core, and they can do open not banking payments at the first, because still we have at least loans. But okay, so this is the new era of the
it seems that Lav have a potential to actually spread to
Lav is
NLB and
more
OTP.
than welcome.
Easily. I mean, the use case that they're building and claim that they're building with Relio, it's a claim that I think is like the biggest pain for the banking sector, like KYC and AML for the legal entities is like, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months process, So if they're cracking that, so they can easily work for you as, I don't know, whatever,
Exactly.
So,
Lav is
no
great.
commission for me, it's just like for the audience.
Lav is great example how FinTech should be developed. So not immediately to enter in the banking business to deal with the payments and with this, where we have also card processors. So, but to solve our problems with know your customer, with tomorrow with APIs processes, with there is a lot of possibility to cooperate. And one huge possibility is in area of the risk scoring model, because today we have a lot of data. Also, last week I started the process of application that also I would like to be TPP as a bank, because I can also have this digital certificate, and register the bank as a TPP, and with consent of our client can see all information from other banks. I hope that we receive the license from the central bank for this account information service protocol. So it means that in any big click will be visible all accounts and all statements. Today, when we speak about if you like to change the bank, colleagues know this, you need to bring the paper, statement, balance, and we need to close that with the PSD2. We can immediately see with consent the balance in in other banks and to close automatically. So there is no anymore to bring the paper, statement, and stuff like this.
Okay, but sorry to interrupt, but it's like so what you're pretty much saying is like I, as a fintech, let's say theoretically, I would need probably to approach you and ask you, what is your challenge? So usually, and as Lav said, so they were like doing the market research. They saw what the customer is needing, but then Solaris, as he mentioned, was at that time like the bank ready to provide banking as a service, yeah, and that was like that the cracking case. But in the way. If the fintech can solve some internal process of the bank, and Marko, I think, mentioned that as well, I think it's more like success story to create, let's say, some trust between the bank and the fintech as like no reference company at the moment, that then you can build your own use case, whatever, but having the trust with the bank, solving them something which they are obviously a partner. So you're a tech, so the bank is fin in that part, yeah. So for you, Marko, Luka, please.
Exactly, this is one side of the cooperation, but we have really to be aware that they have this API called payment initiation service. So definitely we are open. So TPPs can initiate a section without knowing.
Clear.
And they definitely enter in our value chain. And truth is somewhere between. So we have to carefully follow what they do in the core system. So in the national payments, but on the other side, they are more than welcome to help us with IML issues, with risk issues, with artificial intelligence, with the risk scoring model. For example, who will make conclusion on this millions data what we receive from other banks? So
clear, but in the essence, like the payments as a part of the financial industry is not something that bank is seeking, yeah. So the core business of the bank is risk management and lending and whatever, yeah. So in that sense, it's not like you're expecting a zillion. At least when I was like was small banker, nobody was asking anything about transactions, yeah. It's like you need to be alive, yeah. There's like opening the door. So this is the payments, yeah.
Yeah, but today the payments are really so important, because everything is payments. You will took the loan one in a life or housing loan, but you need to open application 5 times per day. Why? Because of payments. So this.
But I agree, but it's just the question. What is like you were mentioning PSD3 coming, so it will be like investment heavy to adopt. So earning from transactions is not like, I don't know, you will be the wealthiest man in the world, yeah.
Yes,
so that is the point, yeah. So for you, Ivan, so what do you think about like me, theoretical fintech? So yeah, I need to talk probably with Nataša or with Luka or with Marko and tell them, look, I have something nice. But now I have even my friend, he will actually help me to be whatever, yeah, the champion, yeah, in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, we want to build bridges with other regions in the world. That has to be said. But so I think the starting point is interesting. The way Luv kind of explained it. You know, as an entrepreneur, you've got so many constraints. You know, you don't have the luxury of going in a linear path. You're always going to hit walls, and you have to take the opportunities where you see them. And I think what happens often is, unless you are part of a very large group that does have those resources behind them, and you can afford to hit a roadblock and resolve it, you pivot.
Pass through it, you mean?
Yeah. And what we kind of are interested in mostly is, and we're not at the forefront of innovation at the IFC. We're there to understand from entrepreneurs as well as existing market participants, where are those roadblocks? Where are those hurdles? Where where do those stepping stones suddenly disappear under the water and force you to be maybe more pragmatic, but also less adventurous, less ambitious for the overall financial sector than you otherwise would be? What are those stepping stones? We like to know, what are those stepping stones and those paths of development that you've kind of pushed to one side because it's out of my control? You know, it's market infrastructure, it's regulation, or it's simply about a timing issue where you know you could do it, but you still have to make sure that you can pay your employees and stay above water the next 6 months. And those are indicators of the opportunities that are being foregone because of structural issues. And they can, again, they could be lots of structural issues. They could be regulation. They could be lack of collaborative payment system. They could also be to do with resources, other things. Those are the areas where IFC is supposed to intervene, is to judiciously, you know, not favoring one party or another, but say, hey, these are things that if we fix them, they're going to help everybody.
Like a judge.
Maybe not like a judge, but as an advocate. Yeah.
Nice metaphor, yeah.
And I think what's interesting also about Liv's story is that we can't afford today just to close off the borders and think, okay, I have to solve this problem in my domestic market or else it doesn't exist. If you find you can, in this region of the world, we can now play off of other market infrastructure solutions, other market structures, even tweaks in regulation in neighboring markets, possibly, to test a business model which will be viable at home later, but where the timing is not right to test it out. And so we can play along those different axes if we understand from entrepreneurs what are those opportunities they've pushed to one side because of things outside their control. That's really interesting to know.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. And then for Lav, so what Ivan said is like hurdles and stones and being above the water. So did you? I mean, you did for sure. But how many stones you need to solve, or let's say walls, and let's say, is this like for now working in Switzerland? Your plan is to spread it all over the world.
Yes, so there are definitely challenges on all different fronts. So I don't even know where I would start, right? Challenges with idea, challenging with getting great people to join you and you can't pay them at the beginning. Challenges of getting investors to back you up where there is very little proof that the idea makes sense. Challenges to persuade either a regulator. By the way, I just want to maybe refer to previous discussion. So I would group them in several parts. There are fintechs who provide services to banks like AML tool. There are fintechs who are working with a bank, leveraging their client base like embedded finance. So basically providing a product that bank can cross-sell to all their customers and then gets and then share profits. Then of course open banking. Unfortunately, I don't think it's even in Europe and especially here in Switzerland, I can tell you it's still not working really well. It will take some time for this to really work well, and maybe in our region where we are better and more capable. So some of the child sicknesses others have had, we will skip. And then finally, you can also be a neobank, a challenger bank, somebody who challenges it to the core, who goes on, gets licenses, and like really starts to rethink completely how banking is done. And all of these different ways and verticals in fintech, they have different challenges for sure. Maybe one more challenge that I underestimated is with Penta, we didn't have our own license. We work with Solaris Bank, but with Relio, we do. We're regulated by a Swiss regulator, FINMA, and building a regulated financial institution requires a lot of people with long experience in banking, not just techie startuppers who go around and like digital marketing guys, and all of a sudden you need to hire people who come in suits to work. And then this conflict of generational, cultural, and also knowledge.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, Yeah, maybe good to stop here. Happy to expand.
Yep. No, it's not like stopping, but now when you mentioned this like generational challenge, yeah. So I think Marko even made some article on LinkedIn yesterday, like how to actually succeed as an IT in the banking sector, yeah. So very interesting article. Thank you very much, and very inspiring one. So for Intesa, Marko, is like how you are now working with let's say fintechs, if you're working at all.
Yes, of course. I think that even if we don't want to work now, it's necessity. But we also are on the side that we want to work because we are aware, as colleagues said, that we cannot be isolated. Even as one of the biggest bank on the market, you cannot be, let's say, alone, and you cannot do the best things by yourself. So even in the past, even without open banking, we had very good cooperation with fintechs. And I think that, as I said at the very beginning, some good use case even push you without any regulation to expose yourself toward the market. But on the other side, if you are talking strictly about open banking, I really think that Montenegrin case is what we need here, some regulatory push into this direction, which will completely open the market in a sense that everybody needs to give something. Without this, we will have the cases like OTP, or we have with some smaller companies, which comes to us, and then we all together build something which will serve our clients. On the other side, if someone comes and maybe we can't see anything beneficial for us, but we already have this API or this integration, we will provide anyhow. But without this interest for the moment, and without push of the market, we are in the position to, let's say, to look for our interest, of course.
Clear. Okay, I mean, legitimate approach, and very, like I would say, prudent. So we have 5 more minutes, and I would like to give the, let's say, word to the audience if they have any questions for us. As far as I understood, if we do not finish in 5 minutes, they will kill us, so all of us. Yeah, probably so. Beheading, am I right? Or?
I'm far away, so I'll
Any questions from the audience? Sorry, Igor. Sorry.
Just wanted to mention, please introduce yourselves. I forgot to mention earlier when you're asking the question. Thank you.
Piotr Roman, LexisNexis Risk Solutions. I have a question about risks and threats when it comes to open banking. The question to every participant: what threats do you see in open banking?
We already talked something about this. So this was one by law. Actually, PSD2 strictly regulated this. And PSD3 will, on previous panel, we heard that we regulated even more, especially from the GDPR perspective. So we implement these 10 scenarios. So in real time, we found solution how to connect our code, and if the TPP initiate transaction, we know how to stop this transaction. For example, I don't know if you start to initiate, I don't know, 1,005 times or something like this. So we have it definitely the good question, and will be focused also very focused on the PSD3. PSD2 will stay Bible, but PSD3 will be upgraded and will cover also this area. So what I mentioned from the GDPR perspective and from the instance. So, but according to the law, there is the decision how you have to fulfill ECB regulation to take this incident in the open banking, because you are simply open. So this is defined by law.
Maybe an answer you weren't quite looking for. I would say that there's a slightly different type of risk from what you're working on, maybe in LexisNexis on open banking, which is that it makes us complacent in the banking industry about the impact of data ecosystem transformation. There, in other words, if we're in the banking community and the regulated space, and we say, okay, we've set up our business model to comply with a regulation on data sharing, it's quite possible, I think actually quite likely, that all the data outside of payment accounts, and even after after that gets expanded to other financial services and products, that other industries will start taking a quite different approach to how data is shared, monetized, controlled, and accessed. And that those business models that are outside the strict confines of PSD2 or 3 or open banking in other jurisdictions will actually eventually become more powerful than the highly structured approaches that we adopt in banking sector.
Yeah, maybe just to mention, okay, this is the major risk, but also I see the risk of implementing this kind of solution, since the banks are corporations which are working on a long period of time, and I think that we will have internal risks how to implement all these things. But okay, we will see how the best in industry is doing it. So I hope that we will manage.
Thanks. Any other questions? No. So they're afraid. Okay. Whatever. Guys, thank you very much. Sorry. Oh, I'm loud by default, so maybe I don't need this. Okay. So thank you very much for the time that you spent talking to me and the audience. To summarize, if I can, so I would say for the fintech companies, follow what Lav did. Pretty much, I would say if you can connect with him, probably he can give you some advice. And if he likes you, probably no fee applied. And then for the banks, I would say go with Ivan. Yeah, so you would need to have a big brother and the muscles. And then if you come with IFC side you, I think you have a stronger case. So for sure, yeah. Nevertheless, just a small joke at the end. I think pretty much the banks are open. If you have the nice case, I would say the big message for you, try to find the case that actually hurt them the most. So, and then they will give you the fin part of the tech. So thank you very much, my friends. Lav, thank you very much.